Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we'll make a custom thermometer dial for Rankin and Kelvin. Now what you see here is 12 gauge, 12 inches diameter stainless steel, 304. We didn't need to use 316 for this project. So you can see the thickness. So 12 gauge is roughly 3 millimeters or roughly an 1/8 inch. So it's definitely a nice hefty dial for temperatures. Temperatures you have on here are actually special because they're in Kelvin and Rankin. So not Celsius or Fahrenheit. And the customer themselves will be providing the dial that goes all the way around. That's why you don't see it here. So we're going to go through the process of how we made this here in the shop. The first step was using the machine you see behind me here. And that cut a perfect circle for us to then do the fiber laser etching on it afterwards. Right off the machine, this actually has a bit of mill scale on it, and that's totally fine. But before I clean that up and get it ready for the fiber laser etching, the first thing I had to do is do the holes. Now you might think holes are very easy, and they are, if you have the right tools for it. But because the diameter of these holes is relatively small, and a plasma actually needs a lead in and a lead out, there's not much room left over. So what you end up is with a circle that's not totally circular. So as a result, what I did is I brought it over to our industrial drill press, and I did the holes manually using cutting fluid and just a big bit going all the way down into it. Now, of course, when you're manually cutting or drilling into steel, what you end up with burrs on the back side. You still see a little bit of a mark in the back if you look very closely. And that's actually from the angle grinder. So what I do is after you have a burr at the bottom of the plate, you go to the angle grinder, you sand it off. Then afterwards, to get a nice finish and remove the mill scale all in one shot, I run it through the sander. Now, it's definitely not the most typical way of cleaning up a surface, but for me it works totally great, and I just really love the finish that I achieve with it. Do a little bit of a closer up. So once the sanding is done, then I can clean the whole plate up because I don't want any impurities to be on the metal during the fiber laser etching process. Small things like a little bit of metal burrs and that kind of stuff, what will happen is the fiber laser will go over it and it'll etch the burr instead of the metal that I have underneath. So a very clean surface produces a really fantastic result. And after the fiber laser etching process, you can see the results here. So it looks fantastic at any angle. It also has an industrial coating on it. So it gives it, it gets rid of the brown and turns it black. So you get a good close-up of it. There we go. And you'll notice that all the lines, everything's totally straight as well. And the really nice thing about this is that because it's fiber laser etched, there's no inks or dyes or paint involved. What you see here is black now, and that's just from the laser etching and annealing the actual surface of the dial. And you can see there's a little bit of shine, but it doesn't get in your way. This is why in my shop, almost everything we do is now etching. When I first started the company, we used to do a lot of annealing, and one of the drawbacks of that is that whenever you have a reflection, the annealing would also reflect. But if you do etching, you don't end up with that issue, definitely not as badly. And you can tell it's stainless steel, you still see the reflection on my fingers on it. So it's not a mirror finish, but this is the perfect finish I find for the stainless steel jobs we do here in the shop for customers across North America and the Caribbean and Europe now. And the reason is this finish here is zero maintenance. This can be outside in the hottest desert, coldest temperatures, whatever, it makes no difference. What you see here, the marking will not peel, crack, or fade over time. It's completely permanent. And I've actually tried to remove this here because one time I screwed up a job a long time ago, and it was on a really thick stainless steel plate, which is really expensive. So I thought, no problem, I'll just use an angle grinder and remove it and do the job again. Well, that was a mistake because there's no way I was able to do it properly because the etching is actually harder than the stainless steel around it. So you end up with a big mess. So that job I actually ended up redoing, cutting out the plates, but it gives you an idea of how durable this stuff is. And again, because there's nothing applied to the metal, there's nothing to come off of the metal. So if you're looking for custom thermometers, any size, any shape, any material, we can literally make this out of anything you can imagine. Contact me at CNCKing.com. We'll make it for you and ship it right to your door.